Charles, a large number of African-American pastors across the country came together on the East Coast to send a message to Joe Biden's administration about the Israel-Hamas-war. They are calling for a ceasefire in that conflict. They're calling for a ceasefire in that war. They believe that too many tens of thousands of Palestinians have died, and Hamas is still in power in Gaza, in the Palestinian area. They have not been removed. They believe too much killing is taking place, and that a ceasefire is a two-state solution is the only solution in that area. I support a ceasefire. You never have. And now, do you still think with prominent black pastors who normally support Israel and support the Biden administration, these are Democrat pastors, saying we must have a ceasefire? Do you support that, or do you still don't support it?
Okay, Quanell, it's interesting that you always begin with a lie, because that's kind of what you do. But on October 7th, there was in fact a ceasefire in place, right? Now, you don't ever mention that, and the world likes to ignore that. But there was a ceasefire in place that everyone had agreed to, that was breached by Gaza intruding into Israel, right? You say Hamas, that's wordplay. And Gaza attacked a bunch of women and children and families, beheaded people and burned them to death. And that started a war. Now, I have been loudly against the bombing campaign, right? I think the bombing campaign, despite all of Israel's efforts to move people out from the areas they bomb, is creating a situation where Gaza itself is uninhabitable for the people, the civilians that just want to live there. But of course, the truth is, just last week on our show on Fox Soul, you got all upset because the IDF sent troops in undercover to attack 3 leaders of Hamas. Now,
leaders?
Yes,
these were 3 young men,
okay.
3 very young men who are not the leaders.
Of course.
The leaders are in Lebanon.
Okay.
The leaders are in foreign countries. They're not in Palestine.
Well, why are the billionaire Gazans living in Qatar and Lebanon?
So don't call the 3 who was assassinated in the hospital
They were
leaders.
Military leaders.
These were young men who were not no military leaders.
Young men that were planning another October 7th style attack.
With no proof.
Where there were, as you've been saying, no proof for a while. There are 136 hostages, many of them women who are being raped. There's tons of dead civilians, all of them targeted by Hamas.
We understand that.
Oh,
but they were executed with no proof.
Look, so what you
under
want,
guise of doctors, disguised as nurses, disguised as aid workers, went into a hospital and killed them.
Just allow themselves to be eradicated.
We don't do that in America.
Because you hate Jewish people.
We don't do it in America.
Okay, you know what? We do it. You know what? Here's the thing.
We would never allow such activity or behavior or act to take place in America.
Came into America and killed a whole town of families, butchered people, raped people, and killed people.
That's what America's done to black people.
Let me promise.
That's what America's done to black people.
You don't want to talk about the subject
That's facts.
But let me promise you that the response would be swift and just like our response
it's
to
against international law,
just like our response to 3 black soldiers being killed by Iranian
and that was a weak response,
right?
A very weak response.
Oh, of course. You don't care about.
They didn't bomb nobody significant.
Bombing Islamists, all of a sudden you don't care about black America.
That was a weak response. And don't act like you white folks care about black men and women in the military.
You can watch much more of Face Off, streaming Friday nights at 6:30. Just go to fox26houston.com.